everyone. Welcome to the Belmont Journal, Belmont's own program for hyperlocal news and community affairs programming. I'm your host, Roger Colton. The 2020 census is approaching, and the U.S. Census Bureau is hiring part-time census takers to ensure a compliant count. If you want to apply, you can do so online or at the Census Job Application Fair hosted at Charlesview at 123 Antwerp Street in Alston on Thursday, January 23rd from 5 to 8 p.m. You can also find out more information about how to apply on State Senator Will Brownsberger's website. 2020 is an election year, both for the national elections and for local elections. The local election will be held on Tuesday, April 7th. If you want to participate in town meeting, now's the time to think about polling papers. Ellen O'Brien-Cushman, the town clerk, tells us more.
Good morning. I'm Ellen O'Brien-Cushman, and I am the town clerk and chief election officer for the town of Belmont. And I've been asked to give you a quick summary of what it takes to get on the ballot for our annual town election, which will be held April 7, 2020, which is a Tuesday. Many elections happening this year, so please try to make sure that you vote in the local election. Belmont has a form of government which is a representative town meeting, and that means that each one of our 8 voting precincts sends 36 people to our sort of mini legislature. Our town meeting makes our laws and sets our budgets and policies for direction for the year ahead. They're the only body that can do so. So 12 people from each one of those 8 precincts are elected each year for a term of 3 years. Occasionally, a town meeting member perhaps will move out of town or change their life or their job and decide that they can no longer serve. So there might be some partial terms becoming available as well. If you're interested in running for town meeting, it's a good idea to tune into the town clerk's website, which is at www.belmont-ma.gov, and select the town clerk, and there's a bunch of things in there about town meeting as well as elections. Town meeting is held starting in the first Monday of May this year, which is May 4th of 2020, and it goes in the evenings for Mondays and Wednesdays, total of about 6 nights, so we do about 3 in May and 3 in June. To become a town meeting member, you'll just need signatures of at least 25 registered voters of your voting precinct. So you would come to the town clerk's office, take out a nomination paper, fill in the office that you've chosen. We certainly can help you with all of that. And then you go out and collect your signatures and return them to us by Tuesday, February 18th. We will certify them, and if you have at least 25, then they will put you onto the ballot. And obviously the sooner the better, because then if you haven't quite got 25, we can let you know and you can make a race out to get a few more neighbors. If you have any questions about this, other than our website, please feel free to call the town clerk's office or email us. You can call us at 617-993-2600 or email townclerk, that's all one word, no hyphens, no dashes, no any underscores, townclerk@belmont-ma.gov. I hope to see you at the town clerk's office. Our hours are Mondays, 8 in the morning till 7 p.m. on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we are 8 to 4, and Friday, 8 until noon. Thanks very much for tuning in.
Hello, and welcome to This Week in the Belmontonian. I have with me today Franklin Tucker, who is the editor and publisher of the Belmontonian, Belmont's online source for hyperlocal news. Franklin, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Welcome back. The new year brings with it the new tax bills that have been hitting all of our mailboxes. Can you tell us about it?
Well, what's happening is that if you're a renter or especially an owner of property in Belmont, it was sticker shock, basically, when people open their new tax bill because for a number of reasons. Primarily, one has to do with the debt exclusion for the high school. We're finally paying that bill. And another reason is that your local average house in Belmont increased in value, by 18%. That's a single residence home over a year. That's an extraordinary amount of increase. As you know, houses are the value of the house that in Belmont is done by making comparables, a comparable sale. And it was just an extraordinary year this year. Just by saying that, just by knowing that the average house in Belmont is now valued at $1.285 million. I mean, that's extraordinary for anybody who's lived here for as long as both of us have.
Who probably bought their house for tens of thousands of dollars, or a couple $100,000.
A couple thousand.
Yeah.
Just back in the 90s, a home in Belmont was worth about $250,000. So, and the reason that they give for the rapid increases is that this is a very popular place to live. It's going to have a new high school. It's going to have, you're centrally located. You can get to almost anywhere pretty quickly. It is a burgeoning, it is a area that people want to come to for work.
And let's make clear to people too that the increase when we talk about the debt exclusion, it is the fact that the first half of the money to build the new school has now been borrowed, and so the bill is coming due.
That's right, and on average, that's about $1,400 on an average tax bill. And so when you look at it, with an 18% increase in value, it's just going to be a lot of money that you're going to be paying in taxes.
Now, people have an option. However, they can ask for an abatement. Has there been conversation?
Oh, there has been constant conversation. Talking to the people in the assessor's office, I believe this is going to be maybe a record year for people who are going to have legitimate questions. Why is their house worth this much? And I think they see, and I know I've heard from people in town, they don't believe that that's a really very transparent, it's not very transparent how they do it. They would like to know exactly why their house has been increasing increasing by the town
Value.
in value.
Or in valuation.
That's right. It is a valuation.
Right. And people are saying that the valuation doesn't reflect reality.
That's right. And you can talk about comparables all you want, but if a person believes their house is overvalued, they want to know the reason why.
Okay. Well, it's a complex topic, and I have a sneaking suspicion we'll talk a lot about
we will.
Taxes in the coming months and years. So let's close the door on that. There is another issue that's been hot in Belmont, and that has to do with the tennis courts.
That's right. The tennis. There used to be 10 tennis courts at the high school. Now there's going to be none, and that caused a lot of people who play tennis, both for the school and in town, basically to ask why is a senior varsity sport being taken out of campus. There's a brand new campus, brand new fields are being made. And it just turned out that it was decided by school officials that the best way to use the limited fields that we have now is to have as many sports as possible on them. And if you can put tennis courts on the fields west of Harris Field, but that would require you to place a baseball diamond or a lacrosse field elsewhere, maybe at Winbrook. Maybe that's where a lot of people are looking at. But how that affects the town is that it limits now youth teams and recreation department things. So they felt the best way of doing it is to put the tennis courts at Winbrook and then add two. They're going to advocate adding 2 more tennis courts through the CPA process.
So there is an option, at least.
Yes, there
and
is.
That's not uncommon for a community to have its varsity tennis.
Half the teams in the Middlesex League play off campus.
That's great. Well, thanks for bringing us up to date. We will talk to you again next time.
Thank you.
We've been speaking with Franklin Tucker, the editor and publisher of the Belmontonian. Hello, everyone. Welcome to This Week in the Belmont Citizen Herald. We have with us today Joanna Juvelis, who is the senior multimedia journalist for the Belmont Citizen Herald, Belmont's online and print source of local news. Thanks for stopping by, and
Happy New Year.
Yes, welcome back for
Great to be
another
back.
year of the Belmont Journal.
Great to be back.
Well, we're at the beginning of the year, which means that town elections are not too far off. Can you bring us up to date?
It's already election season. The town election is April 7th, And people have already pulled papers. 11 incumbents have already pulled papers for the 11 townwide positions.
So everybody who is currently serving is going to
Planning to run
for
again.
re-election.
That's right, including Select Board current Vice Chairman Adam Dash. He pulled his papers to run for re-election to the Select Board. There's one seat open for that. And we have Michael Crowley and Kate Bowen, who pulled papers to run for re-election to school committee. And then the usual people for town treasurer and Mike Widmer, Floyd Carmen and town treasurer, town moderator. We have Mike Widmer and Floyd Carmen.
For town treasurer.
Yep, and then the two incumbents for library trustees are Kathy Cohane and Gail Mann. And we have Cemetery Commission, Alex Corbett, Housing Authority, Donna Brescia, and Board of Health, Donna David.
And it's important to point out that...
Oh, and Board of Assessors, Robert Reardon, sorry.
It's important to point out that simply because there's an incumbent running for re-election, that doesn't mean it's their seat.
Right.
That every seat is open.
I'd like to see races. I really would. I'd like to see some newcomers step up to the plate. I think it's so important. It makes it more exciting too when there are races. More exciting for me anyway. There's town meeting seats in every precinct are open as well. And so if you care about the town and you want to get involved, this is the time to do it.
Let's close the door on that. Sure. We have a position that has been filled in town.
Yes.
Belmont has a new police chief.
Yes, Belmont has a new police chief. It is the former assistant police chief, James McIsaac. He is now officially chief. His contract was ratified by the Select Board on January 7th, and he was sworn in the following morning, January 8th, surrounded by his family. And it's a very exciting time for him. Says he's getting $16,000 more a year than he did as the assistant chief. As assistant chief, he was making $167. Now he'll be making $183.
And he's come up through the Belmont Police Department.
Yes, he's been with the department since, I want to say since 2000, no, not since 2006, maybe since 1999 he's been with the department.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons that he's getting paid more is because he's been around for a while.
Yes. Normally, I think the cap for a chief would be like 168, but again, he was making 167, so I think that was part of the negotiation process.
One of his big tasks, I understand, when he starts is to fill his former position.
Yes.
So now there's a position for assistant police chief.
Yes, as well as captain, because Captain Peter Herr retired. So there's two opportunities for maybe one of the other four applicants for the police chief position, because there was a total of 5, including Jamie, for the police chief position. So maybe one of these other 4 candidates might want to apply for the assistant chief position, which there will be an interview process for that. It will most likely be filled internally. Jamie will make the final selection. And then captain position's a little bit different because it's civil service. There's an assessment that the candidate has to go through, an exam, testing, and all that. It's a little bit different.
Now, if people in Belmont who are used to knowing their police chief want to meet the new chief.
Oh, yes.
There is a reception coming up at the Beach Street
Very
Center.
nice reception on January 14th from 5 to 7 p.m. An opportunity to meet Belmont's new police chief. Or if you already know him, just congratulate him in person.
That's great.
Yeah.
So town elections in a couple months and a reception for our new chief in just a couple weeks.
Yes.
Well, thanks for bringing us up to date. We have been speaking with Joanna Juvelis, the senior multimedia journalist for the Belmont Citizen-Herald. You can read about these stories and more online or in the print edition of the Belmont Citizen-Herald. Belmont High School graduate Caitlin McGaugh recently received her 2nd Grammy nomination for children's music. I recently had an opportunity to speak with Caitlin about how her experiences at Belmont High School affect her work and about her music.
My name is Caitlin McGraw, and I run a group called Alphabet Rockers. We're based in Oakland, California. I grew up in Belmont and went to Belmont High School, class of 96. We make music that makes change. The latest album that we released is called The Love, and we are amazed that this also was nominated for a Grammy. So when you listen, if you decide to listen to it, Belmont, The Love has voices that I feel like our kids will see themselves in it. We met an 11-year-old who had recently shared with their family that they wanted to use they, them pronouns, that they were gender non-binary for now. And they're singing on the album. And they mean every word they say when they give advice to you in the interludes about how to navigate and how to show up for them. So there's lots of voices like that that will, I think, tug at your heartstrings and also help you navigate if any of this language, this new language around gender inclusivity, it's just a way of modeling it so that you can easily do it.
I don't look like you, but I still got your back. Yeah. I don't look like you, but I still got your back.
When I started doing this work and looking at our implicit biases, these things are going on in our heads. And sometimes we think we can solve them in our heads too, but it's really here. So when we get empathy and we start loving somebody, it's really that simple. It's like Mr. Rogers, but the music does this. It connects your head and heart. And so that's what the work of Alphabet Rockers has been about, is like bridging this connection so that when you hear the song in your body, 2 weeks later, you see your child singing these words. It's very moving because they're not soft words. They're things like, I will stand up for you, or these walls can't stop the love. I am enough. You are not alone. And this is what our kids are singing. Growing up in Belmont, there were so many opportunities for music, theater, art. We didn't have limits around participation. We all did it. And I think that creative thinking just followed me. I mean, it continues to follow me as through Harvard, through even navigating careers and a time when there's no jobs available. How do you make your life have meaning? And that's what I've done, is found something that's done in community that has meaning.
Make a difference. Don't wait.
My hope with this Grammy nomination, and we'll find out in January, is that these voices get lifted up, that this music gets lifted up, that our children just have that much more opportunity of a freedom sound that they can feel is like exactly what's in their hearts.
Here's Belmont Journal's citizen journalist Chet Messer's report on Belmont High's hockey, basketball, and wrestling teams.
Both the girls and boys Marauder ice hockey teams have winning records after 7 games. In the Liberty division of the Middlesex League, the girls are tied for 2nd place and the boys occupy 4th place. In Marauder basketball, the boys' record overall is 6 wins and 2 losses. They are undefeated in Middlesex League play and occupy 1st place in the Liberty division. The Marauder girls have a season of 5 wins and 2 losses and are in 2nd place in the Liberty division of the Middlesex League. The key plays in their latest win over Stoneham occurred very early in the game. Number 12, Martin, deflected a pass which was picked off by Abby Moran, number 21, who passed to a streaking Minicozy, who laid the ball in for Belmont's 2-0 lead. Stoneham successfully handled the pressure defense of the Marauders. A shot from the corner was rebounded by number 32 McIntyre and put back for a tie ball game at 2 apiece. A combination of Cristofori Martin passing found Minicozy under the hoop once again for a nifty backhanded layup on the way to a 49-27 win by the Marauders. This past Wednesday evening, the Marauder wrestling team competed against Lexington High School. The next Belmont Marauders sports report will contain information about how wrestling competitions are scored and the details about the fortunes of this year's Marauder wrestling team.
And here's your community calendar for Belmont for the coming week. The musicians from the Powers Music School present a musical telling of A Nancy and the Magic Stick by Eric Kimmel on Saturday, January 11th at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. in the Assembly Room at the Public Library. This performance is part of the musical storytelling series, and it is recommended for families with children ages 2 and up. Have you ever wondered how New England Patriot Tom Brady stays in such great shape? Join fellow Beach Street members for a fun 60-minute interactive cooking demo on January 14th at 1:15 at the Senior Center. You will learn how to prepare 3 of Tom Brady's favorite recipes from a local food and nutrition expert. Class includes a fun and engaging cooking demonstration, samples of all dishes prepared, along with recipes, skills, and essential nutrition education. More information at beachstreetcenter.org. The Love Child organizes parents' conversation groups about tweens and teens. Whether or not you find parenting teens is challenging, you're invited to the next meeting, January 15th at 7 p.m. at The Love Child. The conversation will be led by Lisa Gibilario and Wendy Conroy. More information at thelovechild.net. What will 2020 unfold? Check out the local artist's vision of the new year at the Belmont Gallery of Art with the new exhibit 2020 Vision, What We See, from January 16th to February 28th at the Homer Building in Town Hall. Don't forget also to visit the Public Library to see the paintings of Kay Hudgins' 20-year retrospective of Rock Meadow impressions through March 2020. More information on those 2 exhibits at belmontgallery.org. Belmont World Film comes back with the Family Film Festival on MLK weekend. Watch a selection of movies for children from all over the world at the Regent Theater in Arlington on January 17th and Sunday, January 19th, at the Studio Cinema in Belmont on Saturday, January 18th, and at the Brattle Theater in Cambridge on Monday, January 20th. Films and time on belmontworldfilm.org. Belmont World Film also proposes an artistic workshop to learn how to draw minions with the Minions Movies story artist Cynthia Angelina for kids 5 years old and up. The workshop takes place at Belmont Media Center from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Saturday, January 18th. Registration is required on the Belmont World Film's website, belmontworldfilm.org. That's it for this week's community calendar. If you'd like to see your events featured, please email your information to fred@belmontmedia.org. Well, that's it for this week's edition of the Belmont Journal. As we sign off, you can see what other programming is available on the Belmont Media Center's community programming stations. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Roger Colton. I will see you again next time.